The email sat in my inbox like a live grenade. I couldn't open it, not yet. Instead, my mind yanked me backward, 5 years into a memory that changed everything. Saturdays back then meant a comfortable drive to my parents' place in Columbus, Ohio. Their street always smelled like fresh-cut lawns, charcoal grills, and childhood. I'd show up carrying a blueberry pie from a bakery on High Street, Dad's favorite. It was our routine. It felt solid, safe, like family or what I believed family was. That evening, their kitchen buzzed with familiar noises, the drone of the old fridge, a baseball game murmuring from the living room, Mom humming while she set the table. I remember feeling quietly triumphant because I had managed to save $120,000. Every overtime shift, every cheap meal, every dollar was a step toward a down payment, a future where I had stability of my own. It felt like proof that my life was finally taking shape. Then Lily burst in with Jason, storming through the door like she was walking onto a stage. Her voice had that sparkly excitement she used whenever she launched another one of her business ideas, twice before, both disasters that ended with my parents rescuing her financially. I should have braced myself. We sat around the old oak table, the one with a cigarette burn Dad never bothered fixing. Mom's face gleamed with pride as she announced, "Your sister has a new business plan." She sounded like Lily had just invented something world-changing. Lily leaned forward, glowing with confidence. "I've got everything planned. It's foolproof. I just need some startup money." Then her eyes locked onto mine, and Jason's followed. My stomach dropped. "Why are you looking at me like that?" I asked. Lily softened her tone, sugar-sweet. "Ava, I know you've saved up. About $120,000, right?" The room tilted. My fork slipped from my fingers. "No," I said cold and clear. "That money is for my house. I'm not investing in another one of your projects." Her face flushed. Jason scoffed, "Don't be stupid, Ava. This is a real chance." Mom glared at me. Dad's jaw tightened. The air felt thick and heavy. I laughed nervously. "You've already failed twice, Lily. Maybe it's time for a real job." Silence. Then Lily burst into tears and ran off, with Jason trailing behind. And suddenly the spotlight shifted to me, accusing, disappointed. I sat frozen at the table. Mom's expression twisted with disgust. "How could you say that? She's your sister." "Protecting myself isn't cruelty," I said. "I earned that money." Dad lowered his voice, the dangerous tone he saved for when he was truly angry. "She's more talented than you. You're just jealous." The words stung deeper than I wanted them to. I'd always been the quiet, steady one, working, saving, showing up. Lily shined and crashed over and over, and somehow she still got applauded. Then Dad delivered the blow. "Give her the money, or you're no longer part of this family." For a moment, my ears rang. My pulse pounded so loudly it drowned everything else. And then I saw it, the brass house key hanging on the wall. For years it symbolized belonging. Now it felt like a threat. I pushed away from the table, legs shaking. "If that's the deal," I said, "then you've already decided." Mom gasped like I'd hit her. Dad's expression twisted into a grim, satisfied smirk. I walked out into the warm Ohio night, the scent of lilacs mixing with car exhaust. Every step toward my car felt like shedding a lifetime, the bedroom I grew up in, the photos on the mantel, the little ceramic cardinal Mom gave me when I was 10. Driving away, tears blurred the road. I gripped the wheel as Dad's words echoed in my skull. "You're jealous. You're not family anymore." The next morning, I changed my number. I blocked them everywhere. I told myself it was survival. Maybe it was. But the quiet that followed was cold and painful in its own way. 5 years went by. I bought a home in Raleigh with the money they tried to take. I built routines, safety, peace. Still, I kept that brass key tucked away, a reminder that the people you trust most can slam doors without warning. So when that email arrived out of nowhere, life and death, my chest tightened. Some keys, once turned, don't turn back. I stared at the blinking cursor for hours. Typed replies. Deleted them. Again and again. By midnight, my hands ached and the house felt too quiet, save for the hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of settling wood. Wrapped in a blanket, heart aching, I finally reached for the one person who'd always been honest with me. Monica Reed, my college roommate. She answered groggy. Ava? It's midnight.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm sorry.
They emailed me. A heavy silence followed. Your parents? She asked.
Yeah.
First time in 5 years. They say it's a life or death. She exhaled sharply. Please tell me you're not planning to go. I don't know. What if it's real? What if my dad's sick? What if? What if it's manipulation? She cut in. Ava, you remember exactly how that felt. I rested my forehead on my knees. If one of them is dying and I ignore it, I'd never forgive myself. Then don't go alone, she said. Set boundaries. Keep your phone on. Record if you can. They're fluent in guilt trips. A bitter laugh escaped me.
Yeah.
Family is definitely not my language. Her voice softened. You don't owe them anything. Don't forget that. After she hung up, I stared at the brass key on my nightstand. A symbol of a door I wasn't sure I should open again. By sunrise, I'd made my choice. I typed, I'll come by Saturday. My hands trembled as I sent it. This is a mistake, I whispered to the empty room. Saturday arrived too fast. I barely slept. The drive to Columbus felt surreal. With every mile, the world around me shrank. Houses smaller, streets narrower, trees older and more brittle. My chest tightened with each familiar turn. Then I pulled into their driveway. Parked there were a brand new Porsche Cayenne and a Mercedes GLE, gleaming like showroom trophies. My grip froze on the steering wheel. So Lily's bankrupt, but she's driving a Porsche. My stomach twisted. I forced myself out of the car and climbed the creaking porch steps. Mom opened the door. For a long moment, we just stared. She looked thinner, worn down. Ava, she whispered. Thank you for coming. Inside, the house smelled the same, lemon cleaner and aging wood, but everything felt claustrophobic. Dad sat stiffly in his recliner. On the couch, Lily huddled close to Jason, eyes swollen. I didn't sit. What's happening? Your email said life and death. Mom sank onto the couch, tears spilling. It's Lily. She's in serious trouble. I looked at my sister. She avoided my gaze. What kind of trouble? I asked. Dad cleared his throat. Her business collapsed. She's in massive debt. The bank took her house. A wave of mixed emotion hit, sadness, frustration, and a grim sense of déjà vu. That's awful, I said. But why am I here? Mom wiped her eyes. It's worse than that. She owes money to dangerous people. Lily finally spoke, voice trembling. 150,000. My stomach dropped. To who? Jason leaned forward. Private investors. They're threatening us. We're terrified. Confusion twisted into suspicion. Something felt off. I'm sorry, I said slowly, but what does this have to do with me? Mom's voice rose, desperate. You can solve this. You have a beautiful house. If you sold it, you could pay off Lily's debt. The room spun. You're kidding, I said. You want me to sell my home? You're young, Mom insisted. You can buy another later. Lily could get hurt. I barked a sharp laugh. So could anyone facing lawsuits. That doesn't make it my problem. Dad leaned forward, eyes cold. Family takes care of family. I stared back, feeling the old wound rip open all over again. The sentence hit me like a slap, the exact same line they'd thrown at me 5 years ago. I let out a laugh that broke halfway into a sob. You told me I wasn't family anymore. Did you forget? Lily dissolved into louder crying. I know we messed up before, but this is serious. Ava, they're going to come after us. Jason leaned forward, face tightening. You have no idea what kind of pressure we're under. No, you're right, I don't, I shot back. But I did see those brand new cars in your driveway. Maybe you should sell those before asking me to sell my house. We need those for work, Lily snapped, suddenly defensive. I turned toward Dad. Let me make sure I understand. You cut me off for not giving him my savings. She blows everything again, and now you want me to sacrifice the one thing keeping me stable? For her? Mom stood, tears brimming but fiery. That house. It's just wood and siding. Blood is what matters. You're going to hate yourself if you don't help. Heat crept up my throat. My heart felt like it was thundering out of my chest. I already regret trusting you once. I won't repeat the mistake. The whole room froze. Every face twisted toward me like I'd committed a crime. I grabbed my bag. If you're so desperate to save her, then sell your house. Mom gasped. Dad's eyes turned to stone. As I reached the doorway, Lily's voice broke behind me. You're making a huge mistake. These people aren't bluffing. I looked back at her, voice like ice. Neither am I. Then I walked out. The cool air outside hit me, but my skin still burned. My hands shook so badly, I dropped my keys once before getting hold of them. Driving away, Dad's voice echoed in my mind. Family helps family. And all I could think was, they won't stop, not until I have nothing left. The next few days were suffocatingly quiet. Part of me hoped the silence meant they finally understood my boundaries. Noah, my boyfriend calling every night from Boulder, was the only thing holding me together. You made the healthy choice, he said. They don't get to bulldoze their way back into your life. I clung to those words, but every time a car slowed near my house in Raleigh, my stomach knotted. Then on a Tuesday morning, just as I poured coffee, a car door slammed outside. My mug almost slipped. I peeked through the blinds and saw them. My parents, walking up the driveway. My throat closed. How did they even find me? I flung the door open before they could knock. What are you doing here? How did you get this address? Mom lifted her chin, almost smug. Lily hired a private investigator. We needed to speak with you face to face.
A pie.
My stomach dropped. That meant they'd crossed a line I didn't even know they'd consider. Dad's eyes scanned my home like a man appraising property. This is a nice place, he said, voice low and calculating. Get off my property, I snapped. But Mom walked right past me, slipping inside like she still had the right to. Her perfume, powdery rose, filled the living room. The familiarity made my knees wobble, and I hated that it did. You're not staying, I warned. They ignored me entirely. Dad gestured around the room. All this space for one person. You don't need all of this. I clenched my fists so hard my nails bit into my palms. What I need is absolutely none of your concern. Mom's eyes filled with tears, but they looked crafted, strategic. Lily is terrified. The investors called again. They know where she is now. If they don't get their money, something horrible could happen. For a half second, I almost felt pity. Almost. But then I remembered the luxury cars. The disowning. The guilt games. My spine straightened. You need to leave, I said quietly.
Now.
Dad crossed his arms. We're not leaving until you agree to help her. I pulled my phone from my pocket. Then I'll call the police. His hand shot out and grabbed my arm, not hard enough to bruise but firm enough to freeze me. Every childhood memory of being controlled flashed through me. Don't be dramatic, he muttered. I ripped my arm free. Touch me again, and see how dramatic I can get. My thumb hovered over the screen. The room went deadly quiet. Only my wall clock ticked. Then Mom sagged, tears falling. If Sarah dies, that's on you. I laughed, hollow and sharp.
No.
If anything happens, it's because of her choices. And yours. Dad jabbed a finger at me. You'll regret this. Family sticks together. You didn't believe that 5 years ago, I shot back. They finally left, Mom giving one last theatrical wail on her way out. The second the door shut, I locked it and pressed my forehead to the wood. My whole body trembled. My house, my refuge felt tainted. I called Noah with shaking hands. They found me, I said. They actually walked into my home. They hired a PI. His silence burned with anger. Ava, they're escalating. This won't stop. You need to protect yourself. Remove the leverage they keep trying to use. I whispered. What do I do? I'm scared they'll show up again. I don't feel safe here. Then maybe it's time to sell. Take away the one thing they're obsessed with. The idea hit me like a bucket of ice water. My home, my sanctuary, gone. My eyes drifted to the brass key on the counter. My chest tightened. But maybe he was right. That night, I sat in my dim office and pulled up my realtor's information, Tom Nagwan, the guy I'd once joked with about moving to Boulder someday. My hands were heavy as I typed. Hey Tom, about selling my house. I need a fast deal. I'll take 5% under market if it'll move quickly. He replied in minutes. Good timing. I might have a buyer. Let me check. I leaned back, heart thumping. The decision felt devastating but also freeing. The next morning, I carefully boxed up the little ceramic cardinal figurine my mom gave me at age 10. Under the light, its bright red glaze seemed almost mocking. I wrapped it in newspaper and tucked it into a box. Tom called with an offer, not amazing, but immediate. I accepted without hesitation. Noah drove down that weekend to help me pack. His presence steadied the fear. Box by box, memory by memory, we emptied the house. Books that kept me company on lonely nights, blankets I bought to feel cozy, even the butterfly pin I wore to work for courage. When the last box was tied down in the truck, I turned to look at the house, my haven, my proof that I'd survived without them. You okay? Noah asked softly. I'm sad, I breathed, but relieved. They can't use this place against me anymore. He smiled gently. We'll build something new. Together. No ghosts. We got in the truck. I picked up the brass key from the seat and squeezed it so tightly it left marks on my palm. For the first time in years, I felt like I was choosing my own life. But even as we drove toward Boulder, one thought nagged at the back of my mind. They won't stop.
Not now.
2 weeks after the sale, I finally felt normal again. Noah's condo in Boulder was small but peaceful. Pine-scented mornings, quiet nights. I didn't jump at every car. Then my phone rang from an Ohio number. My pulse spiked. Hello. A steady voice replied, Is this Ava Bennett? Yes. This is Detective Grace Patel, with Columbus PD. I'm calling about an incident involving your parents, Frank and Diane Bennett. My stomach dropped. What happened? She cleared her throat. They were arrested last night for breaking and entering and property destruction. I gripped the counter. Breaking into what? An address on Maple Street. Ring a bell? My breath caught. That's my old house. I sold it. Detective Patel paused. They insisted it still belonged to you. The current owner, Jordan Kim, came home to find them inside, destroying furniture with a baseball bat. My knees buckled. I collapsed onto a stool. They what? Broken windows, vandalized walls, several items destroyed. Estimated damages around $40,000. $40,000. $40,000 of rage and entitlement. Why would they do that? I whispered. Their statement was that they were sending you a message. My chest cracked open. The same people who raised me had turned into vandals over money. I didn't know them. What happens next? I finally asked. The homeowner is pressing charges. Your parents will be required to pay restitution. My world spun. The detective waited. Ms. Bennett, are you safe where you are? I stared at the floor, throat tight. Yes, I lied. The moment the words came out of their mouths, it felt like being punched with the same insult they'd hurled at me 5 years earlier. A shaky laugh slipped out of me, but it sounded more like I was choking on a sob. You told me I wasn't part of this family anymore, I said quietly. Did you forget? Lily's crying only intensified. I know we messed up before, but this isn't the same. Please, Ava, they're coming after us. Jason scowled. You don't understand the kind of pressure we're under. No, I guess I don't, I said sharply. But I saw those 2 new cars outside. Maybe try selling those before demanding my home. We need those for work, Lily snapped, suddenly defensive. I looked straight at Dad. Let me make sure I've got this right. You cut me off because I wouldn't hand her my savings. Now she's burned through everything again, and you think I should sell my house, my safety, to bail her out." Mom stood, tears in her eyes but anger burning underneath. "This place you're clinging to? It's just a building. Family is blood. And you're going to regret turning your back on us." Heat rose up my throat. My pulse hammered. "I already regret trusting you once. I'm not doing it again." The room froze. They stared at me like I'd grown horns. I grabbed my bag. "If you want to help her so badly, sell your own house." Mom gasped. Dad's jaw clenched. When I walked toward the door, Lily's voice cracked. "You're making a huge mistake. These people aren't bluffing." I met her wet eyes. My voice was ice. "Neither am I." Then I walked out. The air outside was cool, but rage burned through me. My hands trembled so violently I dropped my keys before I could unlock the car. As I drove away, Dad's favorite line echoed. "Family helps family." All I could think was, they won't stop. Not until they've taken everything from me. For a few days afterward, silence wrapped itself around me like a heavy coat. I almost let myself believe they were done. Every night, Noah, Marcus, called from Boulder. His voice steadied me. "You did the right thing," he said. "They can't just barge back into your life and demand the world." I tried believing him, but every creak in the house made me jump. Every car idling outside tightened my chest. Then, one Tuesday morning, right as I poured coffee, I heard a car door slam outside. I froze. Through the blinds, I saw them, my parents heading up my driveway. My breath caught. How did they find me? I threw the door open before they could knock. "What are you doing here? How did you even get my address?" Mom looked almost smug. "Lily hired a private investigator. We needed to talk in person." A private investigator. My stomach flipped. Dad looked around like he was appraising the house. "Nice place," he murmured, calculating. "Get off my property," I said, voice rising. Mom shoved past me like I was a child. The familiar powdery rose smell of her perfume hit me, stirring memories I didn't want. "Don't sit down," I warned. "You're not staying." They ignored me. Dad gestured around the room. "All this space. For one person. You don't need it." My nails dug into my palms. "My needs are not your concern." Mom's eyes filled with tears. Tears I knew better than to trust. "Sarah's terrified. These men called again. They know where she is. If they don't get their money, something awful will happen." For a tiny heartbeat, I almost softened. Then I remembered the Porsche. Them calling me not family. Every knife they'd thrown at me over the years. "You need to leave," I said firmly. Dad folded his arms. "We're not leaving until you agree to help." I pulled out my phone. "Then I'm calling the police." He grabbed my arm, not hard, but enough. Enough to drag old memories to the surface. "Don't be stupid," he muttered. I ripped my arm back. "Watch me." My thumb hovered over the screen. The room held its breath. Finally, Mom sagged. "Fine," she whispered. "But if something happens to Sarah, that's on you." A bitter laugh escaped me. "If something happens, it's because of her choices. Not mine." Dad pointed at me. "You'll regret this. Families sticks together." "You didn't say that 5 years ago," I replied. They finally left, Mom crying like she was auditioning for a soap opera. When the door shut, I locked it and pressed my forehead against the wood. I shook uncontrollably. The house felt tainted. I called Noah immediately. "They found me," I whispered. "They hired a PI. They just walked in." His quiet fury vibrated through the phone. "You need to protect yourself. They're not going to stop." My throat tightened. "I don't want them showing up again. I don't feel safe here." His voice softened. "Then maybe it's time to sell the house. They keep trying to use it to control you." The thought hit me like a splash of freezing water. Sell my sanctuary? The symbol of everything I survived? But maybe he was right. That night, I sat in my office staring at real estate listings. My cursor hovered over a realtor's contact info, Tom Nagwan, the guy I'd once chatted with casually about moving to Boulder. My fingers felt heavy as I typed. Hi Tom. I'm ready to sell.
Fast.
I'll accept 5% below market if needed. He replied minutes later. Good timing. I think I have a buyer. My heart thudded. The next morning, I packed the little cardinal figurine from my shelf. Its red paint glowed in the sunlight, but it felt strangely fragile in my hands. When Tom called with an offer, it wasn't ideal, but clean.
Fast. Done.
I accepted. Noah drove down that weekend to help me pack. His presence steadied me like bedrock. As we loaded the last boxes, I stared at the house one final time. You okay? He asked. Yeah, I said softly. They can't use this place against me now. We got in the truck. I closed my fingers around the brass key in my lap. For the first time in years, I felt like I was choosing my direction instead of being dragged. But deep inside, a whisper warned, they're not finished. 2 weeks after selling the house, I finally started breathing again. Noah's condo in Boulder was small, but safe. Quiet. The mountain air cleared my lungs in ways I didn't know I needed. Then one morning, my phone rang an Ohio number. Hello. A calm voice answered. Is this Ava Bennett? This is Detective Grace Patel with the Columbus Police. I'm calling regarding an incident involving your parents. My stomach dropped. What incident? They were arrested last night for breaking and entering and property destruction. My knees nearly buckled. Breaking into what? 847 Maple Street. I swallowed hard. My old house. They said it was still yours, the detective continued. The new owner came home to find them smashing furniture with a baseball bat. My mind spun. They caused roughly $40,000 in damage. I sat down, gripping the counter. Why? I whispered. They said they were leaving you a message. That you'd betrayed them. My heart cracked clean in half. She explained the charges, likely restitution, maybe no jail time. Then we hung up. Noah found me curled on the couch. They tried to destroy me, I whispered. But it wasn't even my house anymore. Soon, the story spread around Columbus. People talked. My parents, the couple who preached respectability, had become a neighborhood cautionary tale. The worst detail? They'd smashed the red cardinal figurine I'd accidentally left behind. Its shards glittered across the floor like blood. Weeks passed. More information trickled in. They'd sold their house to pay for damages, then given the remaining money to Lily to help with her debt. Only later did I learn the truth. Lily's dangerous men were just a legitimate investment firm threatening legal action. No thugs. No violence. She'd lied to whip my parents into hysteria, and they destroyed their own lives because of it. That revelation hollowed me out. One night, I held the brass key in my hand and felt the cold metal dig into my palm. Blood family had done nothing but cut me open. When Noah found me crying at the kitchen table, he knelt beside me. You're not the traitor, he murmured. You're the one who survived. Later that week, Detective Patel sent photos of the damage. The black spray-painted word traitor. The shattered red figurine. The wreckage of a life that was no longer mine. I closed the file and deleted it. It was over. Not healed, but over. And I realized I didn't need to repair what they'd broken. I just needed to build something new. Spring arrived in Boulder, and with it, a sense of renewal. Noah and I browsed home listings together, dreaming out loud about rooms filled with warmth instead of chaos. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains, Noah's voice trembled. Ava, he said, getting down on one knee, will you marry me? I covered my mouth, tears stinging. Not the painful kind, the freeing kind. Yes, I whispered. Yes. Later, I unboxed a new cardinal figurine I'd bought quietly. I placed it on the shelf. Not a relic of Ohio. Not a gift from people who weaponized love. Something new. Chosen.
Mine.
Looking at that figurine and at the ring on my finger, I finally understood. Family isn't blood. Family is whoever shows up with love, not demands. Who respects your boundaries. Who doesn't expect you to bleed for them. That's my real home. And I'm not giving it up. So, here's my question for you. If your own parents demanded your house, your savings, your peace, Would you hand it over? Or would you draw the line, even if they called you the traitor? Tell me what you think in the comments. And if my story resonated with you, consider subscribing. We share real stories every week about survival, betrayal, and rebuilding your life piece by piece. Thanks for listening.